All right. So we're going to sit cross-legged on the floor. And just try to sit nice and tall. If you got to put your feet behind you, you know what? I'm going to pin my video here so I can see. Sit up nice and tall with legs crossed. If there's some reason that you should not cross your legs, don't. So just sitting up nice and tall. A lot of times, maybe in the morning, it takes a little while to get into this position or to settle into it, I guess. At least it does for me. So as you're sitting here, we're just kind of helps me to rock from side to side, just to sort of settle in. Check in with your spine. You should be sitting up on top of your butt bones, not hunched over or arched forward. You should be sitting nice and tall, like somebody has a string on the top of your head and they're pulling your head up towards the ceiling. All right, let's change the cross of your legs. So whichever leg was in front, make that leg in back now. We want this to feel, you want to get this stretch in your hips. So if you feel pressure in your knees at all, you got to think of like, you're going to get that pain in your knee if your hip isn't mobile enough and not letting your knees drop down. So that's kind of an argument to improve your hip mobility, because if your hip mobility is lacking, then the joints above and below it start to take up the slack. So if you have poor hip mobility, then your low back starts to move too much, which it should be stable. And that's where we start to get disc injuries and stuff. Or it can go the other way and your knees start to take on that stress. All right, so let's go ahead and switch. If you're feeling this in your knees, just go ahead and support your knees however you need to. It might be like hands under, and really try to sit into the hips. And feel that hip stretch. Let's switch it one more time. And just to have some fun, let's cross your arms in front of you. So you're sitting here with legs crossed and arms folded. And then switch the fold of your arms. All right, let's go back to your more comfortable way. I don't know about you guys, but for me, like nothing's more uncomfortable than folding your arms the other way. Looks the same, but feels completely different. All right, let's sit tall, bring one leg in. So we're trying to sit on both cheeks here. We're bringing your heel as close to your butt as you can. So we're sitting here, sitting tall. Try to bring your foot in, put it flat on the floor. So if you have a choice of, either bringing your heel in and kind of turning off to the side like that, or leaving it out and keeping both butt cheeks on the ground, we want to keep both cheeks on the ground, so both butt bones on the ground. We're sitting up nice and tall. Let's give it a switch. Give that knee a hug, sitting up nice and tall. And switch back to the first side. Sitting up nice and tall. If you want to keep a hand behind you just to keep yourself upright and nice and tall, we can do that. While you're sitting here, again, you're trying not to round into this. So it's almost like you're trying to stay on top of your butt bones rather than rolling them under. So try to sit right up on top of your butt bones. And good. Let's come up to all fours. So a little back and upper body stretch here. One of the things we would typically do, or we could do in the gym, would be rolling, like a forward roll, somersault. Probably won't do that today just because I feel like I want to be pretty hands-on and pretty close and be able to see everybody for that one. But we will start to get into like the first stages of that, or the first parts of that. So we're going to be on all fours. You'll take your right hand and you're going to reach back kind of under your armpit, right past your left knee, and reach as far as you can so that elbow comes to the, or your shoulder comes to the ground, and we come back up. All right, we're going to alternate sides of that. So you take one hand, reach right past past your opposite knee, and you're taking your shoulder to the ground. So basically what this would be is, if you were going to do a forward roll from here, you'd put your forearm on the ground and kind of roll over a shoulder. So we're just kind of getting into the initial stages of that. If you want to play around with if you haven't done a somersault in a while and you really have the urge to, you can go for it. But let's just go side to side here, taking that shoulder down to the ground, reaching back past your opposite knee. And we'll alternate sides. We're actually getting a lot of upper back movement here. And we'll just keep alternating sides. And good. All right. From there, we're going to go 2 knees down. So just getting nice and tall here, making sure you're kind of stacked up. We get to think of, like to think of the position of your pelvis here. So I have like classic hockey guy pose where my waistband tilts forward. So if my pelvis was a bowl of water, I'm usually dumping water out the front of the bowl. So as you're kneeling here, try to bring your belly button up and level that bowl out. So if you have a bunch of water sitting in a big bowl on top of your pelvis, okay, that should be level. Or think about your waistband being more level than dumping forward. All right, so we're just going to get nice and tall there. From there, we'll take a step forward and give yourself a hip flexor stretch. And we switch sides. We're going to be on a knee for a bit here. So if you need an extra pad, grab an extra pad or a pillow. And let's just switch sides. Again, as you get into this hip flexor stretch, you're going to push forward, but you're not going to let your back arch. You're not going to let your tailbone point back that way. We're actually going to try to tuck your tailbone under. As soon as you do that, you'll feel more of a stretch on your quad or on the front of your thigh here. We want to keep that tailbone tucked under. Or if you think about the position of your hips and your pelvis, make sure we don't start dumping water out the front. Okay. So we're going to do one we have not done in a couple weeks here because actually, yeah, we definitely haven't done it since we've been out of the gym. But there's a good challenge here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that step forward, and then you're going to push that knee forward. Okay, and if we stop here, you stop here. But what I'd like to see is we go all the way forward to the ground. Okay, so now we've put your foot on the ground, and then we try to come back with as little extra oomph as possible. All right, so you're here, take that step forward. So you let your knee go to the ground, then we come back up that half kneeling position, and then switch. Okay, so I'll show you one more time, and then I'm going to take a peek and see what I see on the video. So you're here, let that knee drive forward, and then to the ground. Then we bring it back up, half kneeling, switch your knees. roll forward, touch that knee to the ground, and then we come back. If full knee flexion is not your thing, don't go into the full knee flexion. You'll just step forward, and without taking your knee to the ground, then you'll come back. Okay, so if it bugs your knees to be in full flexion, then we'll just do this part of it, where you're stepping forward and getting to like right here. Another way you can do it, if you're having trouble coming back, which is normally the problem, it's usually not a problem to get there, it's usually the problem to come back. If that's the case, then we can take that step forward, lunge all the way forward to a knee, and then you're just going to bring your other leg through. There's a lot of value in this too. It's just a lot of times people don't have the room to do it. So that knee goes to the ground, and we step through with that other leg. You guys practice well. I'm taking a look. This is a big time challenge, so don't get frustrated if you are not feeling super coordinated or stable with it. This is a big time challenge for sure. Okay. All right, so that's going to do it for warm up. So I think what we'll do for the circuit is, like I said, that hip flexor stretch is really important too. So what we'll do for circuit is just work into the alternating hip flexor stretch. So we're here. It's going to be less, it's not going to be much of a like heart rate challenge, but we will get some good mobility work out of it. All right. So for the circuit, we'll go 5 times each side with that hip flexor stretch. So we'll be here, press forward, switch sides, press forward. All right, so this will be part of the circuit. We're going to do 3 exercises in the circuit. The other part of the circuit, we're going to stay pretty much stationary today. We're going to go, we call it crab to bear. In this case, it'll be bear to crab. So you think of bear crawl and a crab crawl. So the way you transition there is you're going to be facing the floor, knees will be off the floor. Okay, so you're in this crawling position. From here, you'd be doing, any of the crawls that we do in the gym. But we're going to flip over. So what's going to happen is you're going to pick up opposites, right? So I'll pick up left hand and right foot. And then I'm going to bring my leg under me. So I bring my leg underneath, and then you end up facing the ceiling. Okay. I think what happens a lot of time is people will pick up the same hand and foot. So they pick up left hand and left foot and come over the top like that. Right? We don't want that. We want your leg is going to come across underneath you, and then you pivot to face the ceiling. Okay. So then you go back to the bear. If you're struggling with the coordination of it, do the same side 5 times. If you feel pretty good with the coordination of it, then we're going to flip over to one side and then flip over to the other side. All right. So that's that. And then we'll do 5 just body weight squats as deep as you can. So if you have some stuff lying around or even a chair, like we have these mats laying around, these pads, so I might put that behind me and just do the deep squat down on top of the pad, sitting on the pad and standing up. This is going to be more for mobility than it is for strength. So you'll get a lot of stability and a lot of mobility just from the squat. And so that's going to be the circuit 5 times. If you can go all the way down to where you're, Sung-Hee, I'm thinking of you where I've seen you just like hang out like that, like in a deep squat. So if that's If that's within your comfort zone, do that. I will probably keep this pad right here because I can get down into the deep squat, but here I'm able to sort of relax into it and relax into the bottom. So we got 5 things to do. It's going to be kind of a mobility stability circuit. All right, so we've got 5 deep squats, sitting down, standing up, or I'm going to sit on this pad, standing up. Okay, the bear to crab. So bear crawl, you're going to bring that leg under you, and kind of, if you always think about driving your leg under and across, everything else sort of falls into place. So I'm working on shoulder mobility or shoulder stability here, core stability, just flipping from side to side. Does anybody need more practice or instruction on that? Okay. Nothing worse than getting into a circuit and feeling like you don't really get it. I'm happy to talk through that more. And if, we're just going to do a 7-minute circuit here. We'll just roll through those 3 exercises for the 7 minutes. You go at your pace, and by the end, we'll have a little bit of a sweat and a lot of extra mobility and stability, okay? All right, so if you have any questions on that, go ahead and throw it in the chat because I'll keep it up and I'll keep an eye on it. So, okay, so we're gonna go 7 minutes and we'll just roll through those 3 exercises. 5 deep squats, 5, call it kneeling lunge. We step forward here. Feel free to change the angle. If you want to go straight forward, sometimes go straight forward. If you want to go out to the side, sometimes go out to the side. So we've got 5 each side there, alternating. 5 crab to bear each side, and then 5 deep squats. Okay? All right. So we're going to go 7 minutes, 3 exercises, starting now. Here we go. So you can start with whatever you want. One trick too, actually, let me grab. One trick for the deep squat, if you feel like you're gonna fall over backwards, feel free to hold a weight. So if you take a weight and you can hold it out front, my squat gets a lot better because I have a counterbalance, something to pull me forward, right? So if you're here, you can take that weight, throw it out forward, and then come back, right? So that's one way you can help your squat. If your squat is good going down to the couch, stick with that. Oh man, now the sun's right on my camera. All right, so just working through those 3. Guess that'll have to do. Any questions popping up on the crab to bear? Yeah, you got it, Sung-hee. Good, nice job. So on the, when you're rolling from the bear crawl to the crab crawl, it should just feel like you're kind of pivoting in place. If you are feeling unstable, like if you feel like you have to hurry up and get your feet or your hand and foot to the ground as you're rolling over, check and make sure that you're turning with opposite sides, right? So you should be able to be slow and controlled through the whole thing. Right hand, left foot. Good job, Christy. You got it. So on the squat, also, we want to make sure you're keeping that tailbone pressed back. Keeping your tailbone pressed back. Don't let yourself curl under. We don't want your tailbone like tucking under. So feel free to adjust that however you need to. If that means you're sitting onto the couch, that's totally fine. Looks good, guys. I'm going to get back to joining you here. I'm also going to try to find a way to block that sun. Missed it. We're about 3.5 minutes into this. If your knees start to bug you on these, on the hip flexor stuff, you can, another way to do this would be to lay on your back, give this knee a hug, try to keep this leg, your other leg straight and on the ground, and then switch sides, try to keep the back of your straight leg on the ground. So if you're tight enough, this can be your hip flexor stretch also. Just getting nice and long down here, trying to keep the back of this leg on the ground. So that would replace the kneeling hip flexor stretch here if your knees start to get sore, or things get uncomfortable. By the way, today I'm sporting the shirt that we did for the 15 workout folks. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, check your email, because we figured out after we offered all these t-shirts, we did not ask what size people would need. So as much as we want to make it a surprise, we kind of have to ask you what size. So you should have an email from Jacinta, who's asking all the size questions, and then we'll get you your shirt. Okay, so Melissa did these at Petrock Printing, so she did an awesome job on them. They're super comfortable and really well done. So if you've got your 15 workouts, you got one of these coming to you. So look for your email. 2 minutes left, gang. If there's any issues popping up as we go along here, either type into the chat and let me know, or just press and hold the space bar, and that'll take you off of mute. Remember, all the numbers are 5 each side. "30 seconds left here, guys." "15 seconds. And time. Okay. All right. Good job, gang. What do you think? So we take kind of every other day here, and we go through sort of a recovery day. So if you feel like on a day like, if Thursday works out with your schedule and you feel like you need a little bit of a more intense workout, you know, you can check all the the ones that we have banked already. I think number 35 is unanimously the most challenging, miserable one. So if you're up for that, um, that's there for you. But like I said, I think there's a lot of value to going through, not blasting away every single day, but just going through, tough workout, recovery day, tough workout, recovery day. Um, but it all depends on your personality. It all depends on what you need, what you want. So in terms of the live ones, these are going to be Thursday is going to be more mobility based and stability based rather than strength or endurance based. So you can look forward to those. Other than that, if you have your 15 workouts, check your inbox because you should have one waiting from Jacinta. And we're excited to get you these. And we'll get you them shortly as soon as we hear back from you. Okay? Awesome job, guys. That's all we got for today. Have a great day. See you, everybody.